Welcome to Bold Talk series where creativity, leadership, ideas, and innovation come together. My name is Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Jacob Wells, co-founder and CFO of GiveSendGo. Jacob, great seeing you, and welcome to our Bold Talk series. How are you?
I'm doing amazing and so excited to be here and talk with you this morning.
Yeah, Jacob. Well, thank you for your time. I know your busy schedule. I know what it takes to do these things, and just give some time for and explaining like what are you working on. I really find fascinating that what you're working with Give Send Go. But for the listeners out there and people who have not heard about Give Send Go, give us an overview about Give Send Go and your journey. What inspired you to start Give Send Go?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's a real deep, longer story. We don't have time to get into all of it today, but the foundation is I happen to be one of a large family. I'm one of 12 children. So really big family, interesting. And I started the company with a couple siblings, two sisters, in fact. I'm number five in the lineup. Currently, I run the company with my oldest sister. She's number two in the lineup. But it was founded, GiveSendGo was founded based upon the idea as we saw so many people that we knew adopting crowdfunding for personal fundraising reasons in their lives when social media was really taking off. Social media platforms grew massively from 2010 to 2015. It was that early adoption of platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And on the back of that, crowdfunding really began to emerge, and philanthropic platforms were popping up where people could just help other people fund life's circumstances. And we looked at what was happening with the other platforms, and their sole focus was just on the money aspect of crowdfunding. And for myself and my siblings, we grew up in a faith-filled home from a Christian background. And we recognized that from a biblical principle, money is super important to help people meet their material needs. But money doesn't meet the immaterial realities that come along with those material needs. When someone's just lost a child in a tragic car accident, no amount of money you give them is going to fix the hurt. Now, the money will be great for paying for a funeral and dealing with the expenses that come along with those difficult situations. But there are things that money won't fix in those moments. And so for us, as believers that believe in a God and a hope bigger than just this life in this world, we said, well, it's important to not just have a place where people can come and raise money, but also feel like that there's some hope imparted into their situation. And so Give Send Go is born out of that idea that it's more than just money. There's also something greater that we can do when we give people a platform to fundraise for their difficult moments. We can speak life into them, which is why we have a pray button so that people can communicate and speak encouraging messages, why we pray for campaign owners. So that's the fundamental like ethos to Give Send Go, a great fundraising platform now in 85 countries, but tapping into the intangibles, the immaterial, sharing hope with people, speaking life, building community that way.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that pray button. How often do you get that? Do you get a lot?
It's actually amazing. So we get just as many prayer button people sending messages of prayer and encouragement to campaigns as people giving.
Wow.
It's incredible how many people realize the value in the things that they say in lifting people up. And it's what we need more of in culture is people using their mouth not to tear people down, but to build people up. And that was the whole reason behind that, is just give people an opportunity. Maybe you don't have money right now to give to
Yeah.
somebody, but
Yeah.
you do something powerful, which is the words that you can use to encourage and lift somebody up in a difficult situation in a moment. So that's that pray button. And it is incredible to see just as many people using that as giving.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And that's so true because it just happened to me. Every time we do bold words in Italy, I always reach out to new people. I want to connect, and some of them I invite them to bold words. And one of them said I could not make because I'm very sick. And I sent an email to him. I say, hey, can I pray over you? And he replied, say, wow, This is one person that I don't know. He asked me to pray. So, the power of praise. We as a Christian, we do truly believe in that. But just understanding, like, in this world, we need more prayers than we need anything else, right?
Completely. There's a New Testament Bible verse in the book of Ephesians. The Apostle Paul is writing to the church in Ephesus, and he says, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. Like the material world is an offshoot of a deeper reality of spiritual things. And prayer is our way as human beings to tap into that spiritual world, to actually engage in some of the fight, if you want to call it that, of breaking open the freedom that people need to have in the material world. It's always the immaterial reality that then gives birth to the material reality. And this is actually borne out in the world that we live in. If you study like modern quantum mechanics, they actually are discovering that it's not the material world that gave rise to consciousness. It actually looks to be the other way around. That consciousness gave rise to the material world. It's fascinating, some of the studies that are coming out, but it underlines what we're saying, which is there's something greater than just this material world. And it's tapped into, like you said, by our ability to pray and tap into that side of things.
Yeah, that is so true. Actually, that is so true with visionaries, because the visionaries, they don't have to see it first to believe it. So they believe it first, and they see, they manifest it, versus the ordinary people. They have to see it first, they have to touch it before they have to believe it.
No, that's so true. And it's one of the, I'm fortunate. I came from a big family, and I had parents that instilled opportunities and vision into my life as a young person. So I had a big vision for my life as a child growing up, because I got to see a lot of different things. I'm also a foster parent. So we take in kids that have been displaced out of their homes because of all sorts of situations. And one of the reoccurring themes that I find in these children as they come to our house is that they have no vision. And one of my jobs as a parent, as somebody that cares for them, is to impart a vision for something greater in their lives. And that gives them an opportunity to actually break out of the mold of just living a mundane life and going above and beyond. But it does start with that visionary aspect. That's where it comes from, that vision, seeing beyond your natural situation. And it's so important for us as people to cast vision for people and call people into that as well, so that they can live that life as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, God bless you for doing such a great work and getting these children and bring them home and make them part of your family. It's really amazing, Jacob.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I think we've had close to 40 children now over the past 7 years that we've
Wow.
taken
Wow.
in, and just been able to impart something, even though some of it's been for a short time. Sometimes it's long, it's a year or 2 years, and sometimes it's just a couple days to a couple weeks. And every moment that we have is one where we just try to encourage and uplift and share hope and instill some value. And what we see is their lives do change, even in those brief moments. So it's definitely worthwhile, even though it is a sacrifice.
Wow, that's amazing. So obviously, for some people, leadership is hard. For some, leadership is part of life. What qualities do you believe are essential for effective leadership in a fast-paced environment, work environment, or even like at home?
Yeah. So we came up with at GiveSendGo, we came up with our core values this past year as a company. And I think these core values exemplify what leadership is and what leadership requires from people. Um, we used the term shine brightly is our like salutation to all of our emails. We just go out there, live, shine brightly in this world. Excuse me. And so we took that word shine and we made it an acronym, and it stands for 5 different character traits. S stands for selflessness, H stands for honesty, I stands for innovation or innovativeness, N stands for nobility or living nobly, and E stands for excellence. Those 5 characteristics are characteristics that are essential for you as a leader as you walk out your leadership roles in your organization. That it's not all about you. That's the place of selflessness. It's like there are things bigger than me. It's not all about me. We live in a very narcissistic, self-centered society today. And if you can break, I was just reading a book called Good to Great. I'm blanking on the author's name right now. Incredible book, but a study on companies that broke out of just being a good company. And they studied the stock market. It was a very in-depth, data-driven study. But the first thing that they found, which was really interesting, was that the number one characteristic of the leaders of those organizations that went from good to great were that they were humble. They all carried themselves with humility. It wasn't all about them. They always deferred. And so it's that selfless attitude. So living selflessly, character of a leader. Honesty, obviously. Some of these things are just self-evident. You need to own up to the things that you do wrong and be honest in the difficult moments where you don't want to. That's the call of moving forward as a company, because lying and not disclosing things holds you back, causes more mistakes. It just prevents your organization from moving forward. Innovation. We didn't want imagination as a character trait. We wanted innovation. Innovation is taking that idea and actually bringing it to life rather than just keeping it in your head and having it as a thought. Innovation. So you got to be innovative. You actually got to put the difficult work of taking what's in your mind and materializing it, making it a reality. Nobility actually carries a couple different connotations, but it was one, how you view yourself in your standing, that you have value and worth, but also that you live with a form of integrity and honor and characteristic of willingness, even in spite of opposition, to stand by what you believe. And then excellence, it's just doing things well, not giving a subpar response to a question, but actually engaging, digging deep to make. So those characteristics shine for our company are the things that we call all of our team members in leadership, which is everybody, into. Let's live with selflessness, honesty, innovation, nobility, and excellence.
Yeah, very, very good point. Obviously, the innovation is not, if it's not applicable, there's no innovation, right? You need to apply it. That needs to be presented in a way that is solving a such problem or making a life easier for customers. Now, obviously, the crowdfunding itself is a very innovative approach, as you mentioned, not just the funding itself, but also the other parts of the crowdfunding. Give us an overview of where this innovation with crowdfunding could lead us, and where can GiveSendGo will be in the coming years.
Yeah, so crowdfunding is such a powerful tool. I mean, we've lived now in a history. If you open a history book, so often it's our histories are filled with powerful institutions that controlled everything. What crowdfunding does is it democratizes and it gives power back to the people, because what was once not available to an individual now has become, because they have the power of the crowd behind them. Whereas that was only reserved to institutions of monarchies and forms of power that existed. But now, because of technology, there's this wrestle in that. So why we see a lot of the turmoil in the world, it's really because the crowd is beginning to get some of that power themselves, of being able to engage and operate independently of ancient power structures. So the power of the crowd is tremendous for continuing the advancement of freedom. This was the American Western ideal, which was individualism at its core, but the power of the people, the crowd, to actually take responsibility and do the good. And that's what we see happening on our platform every day, engaging thousands and thousands and thousands of people as they give and pray. Where it's moving forward in the future is for us, integration with AI tools
Mm.
to make the process more seamless, to make it more shareable, to make it more ubiquitous in the marketplace. Then there are technologies like cryptocurrency that are on the cusp of being, for our platform in particular, excuse me, on the cusp of being implemented into our platform, so that there's more decentralized ways for people to be able to give and transfer money across borders in various places. So we have a lot of things on the forefront for us as an organization, GiveSendGo. Like I mentioned, over 85 countries right now, but we just opened our first data center where we're hosting ourselves by ourselves. And so we've got all of these great things in front of us that we keep marching into, but it really is a powerful tool for individuals to accomplish things that they may never have been able to do before.
Yeah, the future looks bright, Jacob. Um, how do you nurture creativity among your team members?
Man, that's a great question. So one, what we do is we give opportunity for learning and education. So
Nice.
part of our paid time for our team is that they take classes on company time to continue learning. And and then after they complete their in a 40-hour work week, they get 2 hours of paid time to actually take a class. And the first hour and a half is actual class instruction, and then a half an hour of just engagement with their other team members in the company on how that is applicable to them. And then it's in the fostering of those discussions that the outflow of that is, okay, creativity and how we can take these things that we just learned. So giving, for us, it's a sacrifice, obviously, but it's for the greater good of the individuals in our company first, but also for the company at large. Because if you have people that are better educated, have time to actually think about what they're doing without the pressure of, oh, I have all these other things, somebody's demanding something of me right now, but actually giving them space to just think about what they just were told and let it soak in their idea and then banter it back and forth with their team. That's a really great process for innovation and for creativity to bring forth new ideas. Everyone, and even diversity, there's this diversity is a great thing when it's applied properly, which is under the heading of a proper vision.
Mm.
Diversity for diversity's sake becomes contentious, and it doesn't bring forth any good. But when you have the covering of a good vision, so we have a lot, and on our team we have a diverse group of people that work for us from various countries and backgrounds all around the world, even faith systems, and sex. Like there's so many different types of people, but they're all coming together with a focus. And
Yeah.
so that covering of a vision allows that diversity to actually bring forth a lot of creativity, and then challenges the team to bring those into making the website better and the things that we're doing.
Very well said.
Taking
And very well said from a CFO. Usually you get to hear this from innovations of the CEO, but it's from CFO's mouth. This is really amazing.
Well, it's been an interesting journey when my sister Heather and I really took the company and walked through it. It was like, well, who's who in this organization? Then we got to figure out these titles. And it was really like, well, you know what? I have a business side and background a little bit, and she has a marketing side, but we both work really well together. And so it was like, well, we'll kind of co-CEO this together. But instead of calling ourselves a CEO, we'll just be co-founders, and I'll take on more of the financial and you take on more of the marketing, and we'll run this. But we both are, again, like I mentioned earlier, came from a family where vision was imparted to us. We like to encourage and instill and ideate and like think things out and cast it out. And then we battle it out, but we have this covering of love and vision together moving us forward. So it does move us forward. But
That's
yeah,
amazing.
good stuff.
That's truly amazing. It's so inspiring. Also, I love like stories where family members, they get together and they work together and they grow things together. So you're a true inspiration for many and for myself too as well. Jacob, what does bold mean to you? Not the bold words, but the word bold. What does it mean to you?
Oh man. Well, the first thing that pops into my mind, I'm not sitting at my desk right now. Um, I have this little figurine right in front of me under my computer monitor, my main monitor, and it's a figurine of a lion. It's a jade lion. It actually was left here at the house that I bought. When I bought it, it was left here and all the stuff. And I found it. I was like, oh, this is really beautiful. Um, but there's a Bible verse that talks about lions, and it's in Proverbs, and it says, "The righteous are as bold as lions," um, which means that they live fearlessly in their environment in which they are planted. That's how lions live, and I think that state of boldness is, though there may be threats, though there may be opposing things, I can march into it with confidence because I know who I am. I mean, that's what a lion is somebody who knows who he is. He's like, I'm the king, and I'm not going to be threatened by anything out there because this is just my confidence in the skills in the person that I am. A lot of it comes down to identity, us being confident in our identity, and that it's planted in something that's solid, not made of our human imagination. I mean, like I said earlier, humans are all over the place today. It's because we're not rooted in anything.
Yeah.
So we've given ourselves to our own narcissistic way of thinking. It's all about ourselves. But we know as humans, one day we're doing great, and the next day we're doing horrible. We're all over the place because we had food to eat and then we didn't. Now we're hungry. Now we're upset. And like our body, it's just the fickleness of human nature. So you can't be planted in yourself. So the boldness really has to come from something bigger than you, an identity that's rooted in something bigger than you. And this is where GiveSendGo has operated really boldly in the marketplace, where other companies just capitulated and folded to loud voices that were yelling at them to operate a certain way that was very contrary to some of our fundamental beliefs as a society, and about how things ought to be for the good of society, like freedom of speech, freedom of expression, for the unveiling of truth. But boldness is, I'm going to live with those convictions because I know who I am. And it doesn't matter what you say about me. I mean, if you read some of the articles about GiveSendGo and ourselves, it's ridiculous stuff that they write. We're going to live, as we say, we're going to let our actions be louder than their words. We're going to live with boldness about who we are because we know who we are. So, yeah, I mean,
And
yeah.
that's a great way to end. Know who you are, be anchored in something greater than you. Jacob, always be bold. Congrats on all your achievements. Thank you for joining this Bold Talk series. And thank you for the great work you're doing. And look forward to seeing you again soon. Until next time, take care, be great, be bold always, and God bless.
Thank you, Epi. God bless.